प्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं त्वं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवम् श्री
हरे कृष्णा वनमाल गोविंद प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम।
दंडवत प्रणाम वेंकट प्रभु। हरे कृष्णा
दंडवत प्रणाम।
Spotlight you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. We are very glad to see you again in the Nityam Bhagavatha Sevaya. Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat pranams to all. We welcome all of you for the today's morning program Nityam Bhagavatha Sevaya, and we are very happy to have His Grace Vanamali Govinda Prabhu again in our morning program. And Prabhu will enlighten us on Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto, 3rd chapter, verses 8 and 9. Over to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I am very fortunate and very happy to be amongst all the devotees. Somehow I like to present before all of you so that my bhakti is checked and I don't go astray staying here in Suratkal, devoid of the association of senior devotees. So it is my fortune and my need that I should keep coming regularly in your association. So please feel free to correct me if I go anywhere wrong. And please pray so that I can continue my service to their lordships and the devotees here in Shantipur Center in Suratkal. Thank you. So today we have a verse which has a prose more than a verse. So we will try to share that after the prayers. Let us start with prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatho Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatiruttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Please let me know if there is any disturbance in my audio or background, because here Kirtan is also going on in the background.
It's clear, Prabhuji.
Okay. So I will share the screen for the prose. So this is the verse. As we see, this is the chapter 3 of 5th canto, appearance of Lord Rishabhadev. King Nabi is doing the sacrifice. Atmana evanu shavanam anjasa vyatirekene yatirekena bobhuyamana shesha purushartha swarupasya kintu nathashisha asashananam etad abhisamradhana matram bhavitum arhati. Atmanah, self-sufficiently, eva, certainly, anushavanam, at every moment, anjasa, directly, avyatirekena, without stopping, obhyumana, increasing, ashesha, unlimitedly, Purusha Artha, the goal of life. Swarupasya, your actual identity. Kintu, but Natha, O Lord. Ashishaha, benedictions for material enjoyment. Asha Sananam, of us who are always desiring. Etat, this. Abhisamradhana, for getting your mercy. Matram, only bhavitum. Arhati, can be. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanavi, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All of life's goals and opulences are directly, self-sufficiently, unceasingly, and unlimitedly increasing in you at every moment. Indeed, your unlimited enjoyment and blissful existence itself. As far as we are concerned, O Lord, we are always after material enjoyment. You do not need all these sacrificial arrangements, but they are meant for us, so that we may be benedicted by your Lordship. All these sacrifices are performed for our fruitive results, and they are not actually needed by you. Purport: being self-sufficient, the Supreme Lord does not need huge sacrifices. Fruitive activity for a more opulent life is for those who desire such material opulence for their interest. Yagyarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. If we do not act to satisfy the Supreme Lord, we engage in Maya's activities. We may construct a gorgeous temple and spend thousands of dollars, but such a temple is not required by the Lord. The Lord has many millions of temples for his residence, and he does not need our attempt. He does not require opulent activity at all. Such engagement is meant for our benefit. If we engage our money in constructing a gorgeous temple, we are freed from the reactions of our endeavors. This is for our benefit. In addition, if we attempt to do something nice for the Supreme Lord, he is pleased with us and gives us his benediction. In conclusion, the gorgeous arrangements are not for the Lord's sake, but for our own. If we somehow or other receive blessings and benedictions from the Lord, our consciousness can be purified and we can become eligible to return home back to Godhead. So, we will take the other verse a little later, which also tells the magnanimity of the Lord as coming as the deity. But here, Prabhupada has focused on that we don't require, the Lord doesn't require the gorgeous sacrifice, but we do it for our own progress. That is a highlight theme of the verse. So, the main focus point which we will be discussing today is Krishna does not want anything. Rather, we require the sacrificial process or elaborate process for our own spiritual progress. That will be the thing, and that can be done by loving devotionals as directed by Srila Prabhupada. So how to go to that level of loving devotional service and how to understand that Krishna does not require anything can help us to do our devotional service in a much better way. That will be the major theme. And then we will take up the next verse in brief at the end of the discussion. So let us begin with the prayers. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री श्री राधा विनोद जी की जय। श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलभद्र सुभद्रा माई की जय। श्री श्री गौर सुंदर नित्यानंद नटवर की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। So I immediately remember of a pastime where Lord Krishna rejects the elaborate sacrifice of Duryodhana, or not the sacrifice but the arrangement of the feast which he was offering to Krishna just to pacify him and take him on his side. Rather, he chose to eat the banana leaves offered by Vidura's wife. So which signifies that Lord is Bhavagrahi Janardana. He sees the intent and not the content. So what makes bhakti difficult is this particular thing. Although the activities, the actions of devotional service are not very difficult. Even a small child can chant Hare Krishna, is it not? But then why sometimes it appears it will take millions of lifetimes for a person or a devotee to cross over this material ocean, after especially we have spent quite a bit of time in bhakti? It is because of the intent, which can be impure because of our offenses or material desires. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. But after coming to this, one may feel that now it is done. I have come to devotional service. What next? I should be going back very fast. But it is written that Bahu janma yadi kari shravana kirtana tabuta na paye Krishna pade prema dhana. Even after chanting for many births, one may not get the love of God. Chanting Hare Krishna, the Harinam. So then this is a caution mark for a devotee. Although Bhagavatam says, akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusha param. So whether one has material desires or has no desires or has moksha vancha, a desire for liberation, first of all, the basic thing is to approach Parama Purusha, Supreme Lord Krishna. That is the fundamental thing. Material desire or no desire or moksha desire comes secondary. First primary thing is that one should approach Krishna. So we should be happy that at least we are doing the right thing as a devotee. As here, King Nabhi has understood his dutiful responsibility towards the citizens, that as a king, I should be dutiful to carry out the legacy for the service to the citizens and to my forefathers and arranging for elaborate sacrifice. So Shukdev Goswami says, it is because of this devotion of King Nabhi and not because of the elaborate arrangement made by the Brahmanas, the sacrificial Brahmanas who were very expert, that the Lord came. The Lord did not come for them, that, oh, they have chanted so nicely and very nicely they have done the puja. No, it was the intent of King Nabhi to do this sacrifice in dutiful response. Although to have somebody like Lord Vishnu as one's own son is a kind of material desire, Acharyas explain. But nevertheless, in the lines of Dhruv Maharaj, what he was doing was correct. He was approaching the right process, the right people, and the right method, and the right person, Lord Vishnu. Even Dhruv Maharaj also was on a similar terms. He also approached the right person, his mother, who guided him very nicely, unlike Suruchi, who ignited the envy within him or the revengeful attitude. But he was guided by his mother and eventually by Narad Muni, and he approached the right process. Similarly, there is an inspiration for us to see here, that although it may take apparently a lot of time for one's progress, and one may feel that, oh, I'm chanting since many years and I have been doing so much service, so much donation, so much responsibility, but internally sometimes I feel that I am not so much progressing, or there is not much difference from before to now. So that feeling may come. So one should give oneself a pat on the back, telling that yes, at least I am on the right track. I am following the acharyas, the scriptural methods and injunctions, and that should give us an inspiration to go ahead and patiently wait for the mercy of the Lord. Because Lord, it is the free will of the Lord which only can determine when we will get the mercy, and which is absolutely out of our control. So what we can learn is the determination of Maharaj Dhruva, the good intent of Maharaj Nabhi to arrange such a sacrifice and get along to do their duties nicely. So the determination is what is worth learning, as Srila Prabhupada also narrated Dhruva Maharaj's story, pastime to the devotees, and devotees were very inspired, and some of them started doing the Chatur Masya without sleeping and etc. Although, yeah, they had a little tough time after that, but they were so much inspired by Prabhupada's lecture on Dhruv Maharaj. And somebody were doing some or the other kind of austerity. So Dhruv Maharaj was also a little bit embarrassed at the end when he got the darshan of Lord Vishnu, that, oh, I am desiring for a broken piece of glasses, whereas I'm getting a great amount of diamond in the form of your darshan. So he was embarrassed for his material desire. So this is the nature of devotional service. This is the nature of being on the right track. Even though we may be having material desires, but it will be purified eventually. Best is to not have a material desire at all. 36,000 years Dhruv Maharaj had to rule. Lord understood that now he is not going to misuse this material opulence, which I'm going to give him, the kingdom, and then the Dhruva planet. So even to Sudama, he gave the good opulence, material opulence, so-called. But knowing that Sudama or Dhruv Maharaj were qualified not to misuse it, and they will continue in the pure devotional path. Similarly, even though we may start our bhakti with a material desire, or with the intent may not be pure, as I just started the discussion, that what makes bhakti difficult is the intent. The activities are very simple: chanting Hare Krishna, offering worship, honoring prasad, not at all difficult. But with what intent? So again and again, we have to internalize, introspect by coming together in the association of devotees, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, that what actually my intent is. And that we, Guru and Krishna, knows the best. Sometimes our most nearmost friend also may not be able to help. So, there is a good chance if we expose ourselves and if we are very open, they can also detect it. So we should be very thoroughly honest. And that was the nature of the Brahmanas. They were ashamed that, oh, Lord, you have come. But what was the intent of our sacrifice was something material in nature. So, nevertheless, the Lord had appeared because of King Nabhi on the terms. Similarly, I remember that when Krishna Balram temple was going to open, and the elaborate sacrifice yajna was arranged by Srila Prabhupada, but he credited the appearance of Krishna Balram, Radhashyam, Sundar, Gaur Nitai, not to the sacrifice, but to the devotees doing Harinam at the background. Is it not? So, why the Lord will come? And surely he will come because of the pure intent and desire of a devotee. So, here it is very important for us to understand that how we can dovetail our desire by aligning ourselves to Srila Prabhupada and Lord Krishna's instructions and keep it very pure. Lord Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita that there is no more better devotee than the one who preaches this message to others. So the best form of sacrifice, even this yajna sacrifice was in the previous yuga, which was the yuga dharma, but in the Kali Yuga it is chanting of the holy name, and the mood of our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya is Goshtyanandi, that is the preaching. So if we can arrange all the sacrifices, like whenever the Damodar month comes for offering the lamp, or now book distribution as Bhagavad Gita marathon, which is the prime activity of Gaudiya Vaishnava, to preach the knowledge. So for that, whatever difficulty comes, we may endure it and continue that sacrifice of sharing Krishna with others will be very, very pleasing. In one of the lecture, I heard that even through our Srila Prabhupada's determination to go ahead with the sacrifice, to go to a place which is like a capital of Kali Yuga at the age of 70, the Maharaj was telling that one can only understand this sacrifice when one crosses or comes to the age of 70. Before that, it is very theoretical for us. That what kind of pain and tolerance he executed just to execute the instruction of his spiritual master and sharing Krishna in such a tough place. So we need to very, very clearly understand here the clear message that our intent is what will be tested by Lord, and if we do with a determined effort, with the guidance, and persistently try to please the Lord for his pleasure, then there is a very good chance that we can ascend our bhakti from fear or desire or duty towards love. So the whole idea is to reach on a loving stage, because bhakti is very nicely defined by Rupa Goswami. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma danavritam anukulyena shilanam bhakti ruttama. Means it is not tinged by any ulterior motive, no ulterior desire, and the effect will be seen. So the example of gopis is been highlighted by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that their form of devotion is considered to be best, even better than Dhruv Maharaj, because their sacrifice was even more greater. They left into a dense jungle of forest in the middle of the night to please Krishna. So there was complete detachment, no ulterior motives, and that is why we have to follow in the footsteps of gopis as a servant of the servant, and try to have no personal benefit in our approach. So also the Lord has appeared here in the sacrifice of Nabi, but we see that in Kali Yuga the Lord also appears as the holy names. So we have to try to observe the Nam, Guna, Rupa, Leela, which will manifest by chanting pure names. Now, while chanting the holy names, it is sometimes very difficult for us to concentrate and experience the taste. Sometimes the rounds are very good, sometimes they are not so good. So I was reading the book Living Name from His Holiness Sachinandan Swami Maharaj, where it appeared, and it was written very clearly that why sometimes our chanting is good and sometimes not. It is purely because of Krishna's will. If he gives the taste, we will get. If he doesn't, we will not. And in the next verse, which will be written, that the Lord comes in the deity form, in Purport Prabhupada tells, due to only because of his causeless mercy. But we discussed in our last discussion, I remember, that causeless mercy with which he comes or gives us the taste or comes as a Archa Vigra is sometimes alluring. Wow, only when the mercy will come causeless, that is the time. Let me just go and do. So, have we not to rectify or improve our sadhana? No, very much. We need to attract that causeless mercy also. If causeless mercy is there, why it is not there for everybody? It is there for everybody, but we need to qualify for that causeless mercy also. And we discussed the example of a child passing criteria is 50 marks, but he ends up getting 45. So the teacher gives 5 marks grace because the teacher has seen that the candidate has put some efforts and he's just lost by a small margin of 5 marks. But will the teacher give 25 marks to a person who has scored 25 out of 100? No, probably not. Because the candidate does not deserve sufficiently. He has not put the sufficient endeavor. So in that way, both are grace. 25 marks giving to make it 50 or 5 marks. None of them deserve to get 50. But 45 fellow gets, but 25 does not get. So that part we need to do. To attract the causeless mercy of the Lord, we need to do our part, which Dhruv Maharaj did with determination, which Gopis did, which Srila Prabhupada did, and thereby attracted the mercy of the Lord. So here again, the theme is that Lord does not require the sacrifice, is it not? He is coming out of his own will and not because of the elaborate arrangement of sacrifice by the Brahmanas. So Lord is being served by thousands of Lakshmis, Sahasra Lakshmi as Brahma Samhita tells. Lord is being served by Radharani, who is cooking every day different sabji for him. Now, why he will require our service? Lord does not require our chanting. He doesn't require our pure chanting also. He is very happy there. But why do we chant then? Because Lord wants us to be happy. It is for our own benefit that we should do. So I had heard this very nice thing that sometimes, because it resonates what I also experience, that when we are taking some troubles for the preaching mission and we go on for many times or months and years, then a feeling comes that, oh, see, because of my endeavor and here I'm able to do, and my spiritual master or my shiksha gurus, my authorities, they are getting benefited. And after all, it is done because of my tolerance and my austerity. So a thought may come that actually I am benefiting Guru. It is because of me that the authorities are getting benefited, or our Diksha and Shiksha Gurus are getting benefited. So the moment this thought comes, that means there is a problem. Because at no point of time the Guru wants us to do something for his benefit. The Guru has given mercifully the service to us for our own benefit, by which we will benefit. Otherwise, Guru has no point in getting some benefit out of us. He can execute it in a different way, or Krishna will take care of that. So we should always see that are we doing a service in that mode, that are we people going to become a benefactor to Guru, or actually we are doing it in a mood that, oh, this is a great opportunity given to us, and by this I am going to get purified. And that very thought will help us to go on facing the troubles or tribulations and obstacles which will come in the service, and make our service pure, unmotivated, and unobstructed. One example which we can cite here is the Vrajvasis. Apparently, Krishna stopped them to do the sacrifice for Indra. Now, Krishna being a very small child, Nanda Maharaj and Vrajvasis were very elderly, very mature, and Krishna is hardly 7 years old. Just imagine if a 7-year-old boy coming in our family and telling, please stop this tradition which you are doing for years, there is no point. And he's telling also some karma-kandic philosophy, which is not even related to pure devotional service. But then the acharyas explain and analyze that why did the Vrajvasis finally agree to Krishna, who is a small boy after all. So after analyzing, the conclusion which they tell is there is no other reason There is surely they were not attracted to the karmakandic philosophy what Krishna narrated, but it was sheer out of pure and unmotivated love for Krishna, that because this child, we love him and we want to please him and we want to do whatever he is saying, and if there is any problem, they had full faith that he will take care of us, as he had already done by so many past times. So this unmotivated and pure faith and love on the Lord is very, very aspiring for a sadhaka, which we need to seek for. The Vrajvas is depicted. So that was one thing. Now we will go to the second part of the shloka, that is 5.8, 3.9. And then we will do the revision. तद्यथा बालिशानां स्वयं आत्मनः श्रेयः परम् अविदुषां परम परम पुरुषा प्रकर्ष करुणया स्वमहिमानं चापवर्गाख्यम् उपकल्पयिष्यन् स्वयं नापचित एवेतरवद् इहोपलक्षितः. That yatha, as Balishanam, of the fools, swayam, by yourself, Atmanah, own, Shreya, welfare, Param, ultimate, Avidusham, of persons who do not know, Parama Parama Purusha, of O Lord of Lords, Prakarsha Karunya, by abundant causeless mercy, Swamahimnam, Mahimanam, your personal glory, Cha, and Apavarga Akhyam, called Apavarga, liberation, Upakal Paishyan, desiring to give, Swayam, personally, na apachitaha, not properly worshipped, eva, although, itaravat, like an ordinary person, iha, here, upalakshitaha, you are present and seen by us. Translation: O Lord of Lords, we are completely ignorant of the execution of dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, the process of liberation, because we do not actually know the goal of life. You have appeared personally before us like a person soliciting worship, but actually you are present here just so we can see you. You have come out of your abundant and causeless mercy in order to serve our purpose, our interest, and give us the benefit of your personal glory called Apavarga, liberation. You have come although you are not properly worshipped by us due to our ignorance. Purport: Lord Vishnu was personally present at the sacrificial arena, but this does not mean that he had any interest in his own personal benefit. Similarly, the Archa Vigraha, the deity in the temple, is present for the same purpose. Out of his causeless mercy, the Supreme Personality of Godhead presents himself before us so that we can see him. Since we have no transcendental vision, we cannot see the spiritual Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha of the Lord. Therefore, out of his causeless mercy, he comes in a form we can see. We can only see material things like stone and wood, and therefore he accepts a form of stone and wood, and thus accepts our service in the temple. This is an exhibition of the Lord's causeless mercy. Although he has no interest in such things, in order to receive our loving service, he agrees to act as he does. We cannot actually offer suitable paraphernalia for the Lord's worship because we are completely ignorant. It was out of his causeless mercy that the Lord appeared in the sacrificial arena of Maharaj Nabi. So here again, as we discussed about the causeless mercy, the Lord is appearing, not because the Lord wants something to enjoy in the sacrificial arena, but to make it easy for us, because we are not able to see him in his transcendental form, Satchit Ananda Vigraha. He comes and takes up a material form. So for us, even to connect to Krishna and the deity sometimes may become difficult. One devotee was asking that how we can take connection, get connection, or how we can speak to the Lord. So in one of our discussions, and he was mentioning that I don't feel that much connection or Lord talking to me, then what should I do? So the devotee was answered that one has to pray, one has to seek, and we cannot demand when the Lord will speak or give indication. So we have to patiently wait, like how a chataka bird is waiting for that drop of rain from the cloud. So similarly, we can hear from the scriptures and the pastimes that Lord has reciprocated through the deity also. Whether it is Sakshi Gopal, who gives Sakshi to the Brahmana walking right away from Vrindavan, or whether it is Kanakadas, for whom the Lord turns 180 degree, or whether it is Sanatan Goswami, to whom Lord also reciprocates, telling that please put some salt, or whether it is Kanchi Purna, or whether it is Tota Gopinath who bends for Gadadhar Pandit. So many pastimes will reinstill faith in us, that how the deity really reciprocates to the genuine devotion of the devotee. Another thing what we can also focus is, it is easier to get connected to the Guru, who is also a manifestation of Krishna, an external manifestation. Internally, Paramatma is there, and externally, he comes as Sri Gurudev, and whom we can actually hear and serve and get a very good, thick connection to. He mercifully sends Guru, his acharyas, representatives like Srila Prabhupada and his disciples, where we can actually very easy to get connect with. But the problem is sometimes, because of the lack of connection and love, even there also we are not able to connect and follow the instructions. So that is now our homework, to establish that relationship, the loving relationship, because unless that is not established, we will not be able to offer service. It will be very superficial. One cannot go on artificially doing the service. So through the Guru, yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado. So now, since it is said that we have to please and we have to show our intent, which should be pure, and then only Krishna will get attracted. So Srila Prabhupada tells the best way is to please the Guru. And that is how we can please the Lord it also. So we have to grow from a platform of desire, material desire, to duty, to ultimately love, which the gopis are depicted here. And sometimes if we find difficult to even get connected to Guru on a loving platform and thereby to Krishna, then we should associate with those devotees who have already attained that stage of loving devotion to their Guru. Yeah, it may be difficult because sometimes Gurudev is traveling, we don't have that much access to him, or we are not able to generate that even after initiation. So then what we should do is to get that loving relationship with the devotees, which also requires good amount of sacrifice. We have to keep our false ego aside and learn from them, because the association of devotees will be purifying. They will give some corrections, they will give some rectifications, but we need to understand that this is the way to connect to Guru and thereby to Krishna. Without the association of devotees, it is practically impossible. So we have to practice till the time we reach the platform of loving devotional service, which takes time. It may take time, but as I mentioned earlier, that the path which we follow should be giving hope that at least that is the correct thing what I'm doing. Then the results may take time for individual, and it may immediately not manifest, but that faith will be there, that okay, even though I'm not getting result, I'm on the right path. And one day, that is the only hope which we can have in the association of devotees, continuing that right thing and wait for the mercy. Already the crores worth thing has been given us in a very minimal rate. Something like 200 crore worth rupees is given for 200 rupees. Now we cannot tell that, oh, please make it more cheaper. I cannot afford 200. I will buy only for 20 rupees. We have to qualify ourselves to earn that 200 rupees because the product worth crores of rupees has been made to 200. So there is no question now to bargain. but have only that implicit faith. Devotees have done it. Pastimes and scriptures again and again emphasize and give us faith. So now it is now on our platform. Like how Nabi is be able to successfully attract the presence of Lord by his devotion, Dhruv Maharaj by his intent. He followed Narad Muni and he got the mercy. Even Srila Prabhupada, apparently how Narad Muni stopped him that, oh, this is not the time for you to do such severe thing. Please go back and play. Don't be so much ambitious. Similarly, even Sumati Murarji stopped Srila Prabhupada. Is it not that, oh, Swamiji, please preach to us why you are going to America at this age? But did Prabhupada stop? No. He was so determined. So we can learn from these examples, keep hearing from Lilamrut. If you read Lilamrut, there are so many occasions where Prabhupada shows his determination to serve and be dedicated to his Guru Maharaj. So in essence, we'll just try to recollect and revise what we discussed today. We started with the first verse where the Lord Vishnu comes to the sacrificial arena, or it is mentioned that he is not in need, but rather it is for our own benefit that we do this sacrificial thing. So we discussed that the intent with what we do the bhakti is what makes the bhakti difficult. Otherwise, the external activities are very simple. We discussed that how the Dhruv Maharaj's determination was ultimately able to attract the Lord's mercy, even though he had material desire. Similarly, Nabi also, apparently he has a material desire to have a son like Lord Vishnu, but Acharya has mentioned that because of his devotion, the Lord gets attracted, and not because of the Brahmana sacrifice, the elaborate sacrifice. And we discussed that how Krishna Balram temple, Prabhupada credited the appearance of Krishna Balram and Radha Shyam Sundar Gaur Nitai to the Harinam and not the Yajna sacrifice. So we walk in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's guidance, that keeping gopis bhav and the gopis dedication and sacrifice to be the topmost. So once I was asking a question that if gopis sacrifice is the topmost and the worth following, then why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again and again hears Prahlad Maharaj or Dhruv Maharaj pastimes at Tota Gopinath from Gadadhar Pandit? So a devotee shared that yes, although Gopi's example is the topmost and worth following, but there is something from Dhruv Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj worth learning, and that is the determination of Dhruv Maharaj. With that, if we perform our bhakti, that determination is required. But once devotees ask what to do, Prabhupada, if we don't have determination, and Prabhupada very directly, honestly, humbly told that if one does not have determination, he is no good than an animal. So what is the primary difference between a human and an animal is the determination. Not only the determination to know that what is right and what is wrong, but the determination to follow it also. One devotee was telling that ISKCON devotees are very expert. Any small boy also can give a class nowadays. But however, the application part has to be focused on also equivalently. And then we saw that how our devotion should be anyabhilashita shunyam. It should be completely exclusively done for the Lord. I forgot to say an analogy which Prahlad Maharaj says in 7th canto, that when we do with this intention, which is apparently difficult at this stage probably, but when we do, it is like decorating ourselves in the front of the mirror, and the mirror image will automatically get decorated. So we don't have to do a separate endeavor to satisfy us. But if we keep our focus on satisfying Krishna, and in the next shloka we saw, by indirectly through Guru, and even if that is difficult, then through serving the devotees, we have to have that intent to satisfy them in our intention. And we have to time and again introspect us by coming to Bhagavatam classes, by coming to an association of devotees, senior devotees especially, that how our intent will be rectified. And that is my sole desire, to come and associate with so many senior devotees who are present today. I am surely not at all qualified, but I like to come and discuss something so that they will rectify me whenever maybe sometimes they don't tell during the class, but later on I hope. And that is how uh, uh, my vehicle of bhakti will go on a correct path, and I'll hopefully not end up getting distracted. So thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity, and I hope and pray that whatever I'm speaking, I also try to little bit follow it, and that devotees can also bless me for this small attempt from my side. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you so much for the wonderful class with very nice examples you have mentioned, and also like nicely summarized at the end. Like you said, intent matters. I mean, not the content. So you have given the example of Duryodhana and Viduri. So it was very nice, and yes, and at the end you mentioned discrimination, and putting that in the application part. Determination is very important in our life, and you also have mentioned about how the deities are reciprocated. Deities are reciprocated with the devotees like Sanatana Goswami, Kanchipurna, Gadadhar Pandit, like that. So very nice, very nice class, very inspirational. So devotees lines are already unmuted. Devotees can unmute and ask any questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandvat Pranam, very nice lecture. And the basic points, that's what sometimes I feel, what little I know I practice, but suddenly somebody says, you have to read this, you have to read that, you have to read that. In a daily basis, we will not be able to do so much in the material world. But what Prabhupada has said, what my Siksha Guru has taught me, what you should do, the minimum like Sikshashtakam, Gurvashtakam, Narsimharti and Manglacharan and Tulsi Pranam, then Guru Vandana. These are the few things I just do. But suddenly somebody say, you have to read this. So many things they tell. I mean, practically not possible. But with your thing, that is the intent is important, not the content. I think is that okay, Prabhu? Or maybe once in a while, like Damodaraman, Damodarashtakam will do. Or Atikmasa, I mean, in this thing we did Chaurashtakam, like that one. But the people suddenly they say 10 death. You do this, do this, do this. It's not possible. I feel I'm miserable. I'm not able to do. But after listening to your lecture, I think I'm happy. At least that I would like to do it perfectly, Prabhu. What do you say, Prabhu?
Thank you very much for encouraging. And yes, Mataji, it is not, it is my words, but it is the scriptures. They tell time and again, whether it is the Orison lady who climbed up on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and one leg was on Garuda, but Mahaprabhu was happy with the intent. Even the lady, the widow from Yamuna was bringing water, but very perfectly every day, early morning, 3:30 or 4 o'clock, in the cold weather also. And Prabhupada told she will go back home, back to Godhead, only for such a small act, apparently. So, yeah. However, one thing is there that we should not judge our intent to be perfect. And we should not end up thinking that, okay, this is my intent is correct, my bhakti may be very small. That we should leave it to Guru and our authorities to judge, and that we should be very eager to take feedback from them. So, because as a conditioned soul, we may end up thinking that, okay, after all, the intent is more important, and we may compromise from giving our 100%. So, keeping in mind that the intent is very important, at the same time, we do not judge our own intent because we may flaw. So, we give that that aspect to be judged by our senior devotees who are our well-wishers, and thereby we remain safe. And if they tell that if they are satisfied, then that is our marks, that are our passing marks. And the fact that if one is doing with good intent, the natural feeling will come that I'm not doing enough. I want to do much more than this. So that is also what I have heard. So very truly, as you mentioned, it's a very delicate balance, and that is why we need guidance how to keep that. Once my Guru Maharaj was asked by the devotees that on this Adhik Mas, Maharaj, we are planning to do 4 extra rounds. One brahmachari told, we are planning to do this preaching activity a little more. So everybody told something extra. And when one brahmachari carefully requested and asked Maharaj, what would you like to be doing in this Adhik Mas? And he replied that I would like to chant my 16 rounds and 4 regulative principles with more attention. So it is very true that the intention is the core thing. But sometimes when we increase the quantity of service or sadhana, it helps to increase our intent also. So, but what happens in the name of increasing the external activities and projects and preaching, then the very core of the intent many times suffer, because a lot of attention goes in the external aspect, and we don't know why we are doing what we are doing. We are doing big things, but nobody is happy with us. Our guru, our shiksha guru, our bhakti vriksha head is not happy with us. Then there is a big flaw. The devotees are getting crushed by our behavior and not happy. So that will remain an important activity to guide. If devotees around us are happy, our immediate authorities are happy, and then there should not be a problem, and that we should leave that judgment to them, because often we may do a mistake in judging our own intent. That is my humble understanding. Thank you, Mataji, for bringing out that humble point from your practice. And I'm sure you are putting your full effort, and you will be an example for all of us. Hare Krishna.
Dandavad Pranam Prabhu. It's all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, there is a question from the Gaurchandra Gopinath Prabhu in the chat. Thank you for wonderful points, especially how one can connect to Guru if not able to connect to deities. So then comes the request, please pray that I get little bit Guru Bhakti and connect to Guru regularly.
Maybe that is a comment, not a question. I understand that he is mentioning. You know?
No, he's saying how one can connect to Guru if not able to connect to deities. So I feel Gaurchandra Gopinath Prabhu, we can unmute and ask. Gaurchandra Gopinath Prabhu?
He is not there too online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a Prabhu always encourages.
Hey Krishna Vanamali Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam Prabhuji. Thank you for very nice session, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you mentioned about this reciprocation of deities. I think those reciprocation of deities to several pure devotees. You have quoted examples like Kanchi Purna, Sakshi Gopal's reciprocation to the Brahmana, and how Prabhupada was getting reciprocation, etc. They are all pure devotees, Prabhuji. But for the sadhaka level, how we can understand and get the feeling of that reciprocation.
Yeah. So we may not be able to see the deities. We may not be able to see the drastic response as mentioned for such pure devotees as a sadhaka. But if we turn around and see what we have gained after entering the devotional service, like Prabhupada says that one should always be grateful by looking behind what one was before coming to Krishna consciousness, especially when one is going through tough times in bhakti. It's a very important aspect which you brought out, Prabhu. So in my understanding, we may not be able to see the deities talking to us, but we can at least see that we are, as I mentioned, we are on the right track. We may not be able to get the bliss and taste which may be narrated in the scriptures to the pure devotees, but we are at least practicing in the association of devotees. We are surely, we can see we had 10% faith before, and our faith has increased to 30%. And when we come with these feelings towards the deity while taking darshana, then I am sure that everybody individually at their level will have a good reciprocation feeling of devotees talking, which they would have not been felt before. Many a times I hear that when one does preaching, he feels the reciprocation of the deities much more because he takes the risks for the Lord. Many of them have shared this, like His Holiness Prabodhanand Saraswati Maharaj, disciple of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, sannyas disciple. So he was also telling that when he was on the preaching tour and he was carrying the Gaur Nitai deities in the bus party, and uh, the bus was about to fall in a valley, and all the participants, the devotees, had vacated it to save their selves. But Maharaj was inside the bus because the deities are there. What to do? How can I leave the deities who are installed, who are fixed in the bus, and should I go away? And surely enough, after few hours, one tractor came and pulled out the entire bus. So that was one thing. Another incident, when the police had caught because of lack of papers, Maharaj was sitting in the police station almost with the devotees for one day, and suddenly the fan fell down, and the police was told by Maharaj, see, because you are harassing us who are doing the nice service, the Lord is showing the signs. And immediately he allowed them to go. So in essence, what Maharaj was telling, that we can see that how Lord is reciprocating to us through when our sacrifice is much more. So the more we follow the instructions of Guru and sacrifice, to that extent, ye yathamam prapadyante tam tataiva bhajamyam. To that degree, he will reciprocate. If one is in the Shantras, then the deities will like to reciprocate in that way. If one is in the Dasyaras, service attitude, so he will be reciprocating. But what I have heard from seniors is, when we do one step ahead in preaching, preaching means not only going and giving a lecture, but in service also. Somebody may be in the background in the kitchen, but the more one reciprocates in the service, because only sevon mukhe hi jiva do swayam eva suratyada. It is only by the service of tongue, by chanting the Hare Krishna, that we can see the Lord in the holy names. Uh, 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 because holy name is non different from the Lord, and by our service attitude, we can reciprocate through the deities also. This is my humble understanding, because I am also have not realized it to a great extent, but whatever I have understanding, I just shared with you. If somebody else wants to add, please feel free to do that, which can help Sankarshan Priyapan.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Dhanvat Pranam, Balaji.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. The intent and the application you have very nicely narrated in the morning lecture, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Balaji. Thank you. Would anybody like to add to the point which Sankarshan Priyaprabhu brought out? Then please feel free, because I feel my understanding is limited on that.
He himself is very much experienced, Prabhuji.
Yes, yes. Yeah, Sankarshan Priyaprabhu, would you like to share? You might have heard from some others if you have asked something to them.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. I think the last point that you said, Jive Mukhe Jiguado. I think we can realize that reciprocation with our mode of service, and also the intent for in our chanting. Yeah, Prabhuji. And I heard one more thing. We may not get reciprocation directly, like what you said, Prabhuji. For the pure devotees, they get reciprocation. But for us, the very reason we are able to continue our devotional service practice, that itself is a reciprocation.
Yes.
Otherwise, we cannot continue at all, because there is some little bit of sincerity in us, and the mercy of the Guru, we are able to continue. So that was one point I just realized, Prabhuji, when you were speaking.
Yes. His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj had told that humanly it is impossible to continue 16 rounds daily unless we are getting some taste. So surely we are getting a taste which is healthy. Thank you.
So thank you for the wonderful class. One point which actually also comes is, we take it for granted. We have to be also more, in the sense, we are undermining so many things which we get actually. So reciprocation comes in, as you said rightly, look back. You don't have to go back to the day we joined. That is obviously there. But on a every monthly basis also, whatever we are able to, maybe it's more association to more, our involvement itself is happening more is only because of the mercy of the Lord. That itself is a reciprocation. That's how I see it normally. And as you said, right, the intent is most important. Along with intent is a mood of humility with no expectation. That makes it even easier, is what I normally, feel when I do it. If I go with the expectation, I'm going to get this, then I'm going to be disappointed. But if I go with the mood of I expect nothing, only to, I'll do it as a service to please. I mean, we can at least think that way and go. I'm thinking, and whether I'm going to please is different, but I can at least think and say, I go with no expectation. It really makes it, and if anything happens, then you have to be very observant to it. We should not take anything as, it will be a very small thing.
Just compliments.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ravilochan.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Vanamali Prabhu. It's very nice to have you in our association today morning. And regarding the reciprocation of the Lord, recently we had a very good experience. We had one trip. The beginning itself, I told the driver that, nothing is going to happen to us because we are all chanting in the vehicle and we are all devotees of the Lord. Lord is with us. So it so happened we were supposed to have a head-on collision at one point. A fraction of seconds, Lord saved us. So the driver also started believing it, Prabhu. So finally we gave him Bhagavad Gita book at Chandigarh temple. We purchased and we gave him. So this is how the Lord reciprocates when we have a strong faith and belief that Lord is going to save us.
Thank you very much,
Thank you, Prabhu.
Ashokatma Prabhu, for bringing out that realization. I thought I'll just share one thing. I know it is time up, but somewhat relevant and very inspiring for me. So I thought I'll just share here and we'll end. From a quote from my Guru Maharaj: when we want to see other devotees loved, respected, getting affection and getting appreciation, and we are simply happy to serve, when we start having that consciousness, we are on the line of pure devotional service. Until then, we are still very much caught up by mixed devotional service. So I was thinking that, many times I fail in my correction to my juniors. I don't often respect them. And I sometimes, when they don't do whatever I tell, then I feel little grudging also. But here there is a complete 180-degree turn in what he is telling. So this probably intent is brought about in this line. That is why I thought to share that our intention should not get distracted from here. Always we should be wishing good and respectful to others, and then it will be on a line of pure devotional service, and probably it will attract the grace of the Lord. Thank you. Sorry for taking that 3 minutes extra. Please forgive me. Hare Krishna. We can end, Prabhu. I think time up.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
I think Prabhu has Prashnath Balram Prabhu, I think you have one question, right? You wanted to say something?
Yeah. Urgent. Wherever
Prasanna Prabhu told, I think, we can end it.
Prasanna Prabhu unmuted. Prabhuji, you want to say something?
No, Prabhu. I think it was a wonderful discussion. I just wanted to chip in, but thank you so much. That's all right. We don't want to take time. Thank you once again, Vanamali.